Yo, Technical File Podcast. It's your boy Abdi.
Yo, it's your boy King Tesfai.
It's your boy Lil Gap.
And today we're going to be talking some more about the free agency and what had transpired throughout the past couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about our favorite, who we think our favorite teams were so far, our favorite pickups, and the surprising team. So like the team that everyone, you know what I'm saying, is looking forward to watch. Also, Kyrie Irving yesterday made a few statement, actually a big statement regarding himself, his mental health, the health of the world in general, and the media and the press. And we're going to be talking about that as well. And then we're going to end the episode talking about the Russell Westbrook and the John Wall trade. So, first of all, Johannes, how you been, bro?
Bro, I've been good, man. It feels like it's been like 2 months, man.
Yeah, it feels like ages, man.
Yeah, how you been?
I've been okay, man. Just don't really like the weather right now. In general, I don't like the weather. So, but other than the fact that the weather sucks, I'm all right. You know, I got my hoodie to take care of me, just like you got your hoodie, and you know what I'm saying. Y'all can get that. It's gonna be right here. You know what I mean? Maz is chilling out in Southern California, Los Angeles. They didn't deserve. Well, you know. Well, hey man. Speaking of the Lakers, they made a few additions. Um, some people say they probably had the best free agency. They had the best offseason so far in the this during. I was gonna say summer, but it's not the summer. You know what I'm saying? But they had the best offseason so far. For a lot of people are saying, "Yo, Johannes and Miles, what do you guys think about that?"
I'll let Miles go ahead since it's his team first.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Um, if I had to rank them, I'd say my team had the best offseason this year, guys. We made some pretty smart moves. We were able to get get some treason going on within the city of LA, getting Montrez to walk across the street to come to the winning team. We picked up Dennis Schroeder. That's going to be excellent moving into our starting lineup, filling that need that we have with Rondo going to Atlanta. And we have one of the greatest centers, for sure, first ballot Hall of Famer in Marcus All. So, like our depth, look inside the paint and the way he's going to be able to spread the floor. We had to get rid of JaVale and we lost the White and we were able to create some cap room. But since we'll have Marcus All in the middle, we'll be able to have some better interior passing, and we'll be able to actually spread the floor because that man can knock some jumpers down. You know, it's looking good, and we got Wes Matthews, so that's a good vet. They'll be able to play coming off the bench. You know, we're continuing to build upon our dynasty. You know, we're just doing what we're supposed to do. You know, like winning coaches do. I'm really happy with what we did.
Well, I just want to go ahead and say, uh, cut the crap. Marcus is not a Hall of Famer. This man got abused by Daniel Tice. I don't want to hear it. Okay. He had multiple 0-point games against the Boston Celtics, and we don't even have a true center, so you can forget that. That was a great pickup, and I will agree with Miles on the fact that the Lakers did have an amazing offseason. I mean, you would have thought that they damn near didn't make the playoffs with the acquisitions that they got, and they did a great job getting rid of uh, Danny Green, who I believe at this point in time, I'm a greater three-point shooter than him. I mean, he was nowhere to be found. And, Rondo is a big loss because they do lose that championship pedigree and leader. Although they made up with that with Marcus Gasol, and they still have LeBron and company. So they did a great job in the offseason. I give them A+. I think they did the best possible moves that they could versus their competitors, and like we all know and agree with, they are a championship uh franchise, unfortunately, but kudos to them.
So you guys are sitting here talking about the Lakers and the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I don't want to be a homer and say my Celtics, but I'm not going to get into that. Honestly, my favorite team. So like my favorite pickup. I should make this plural instead of singular. Is first of all Rajon Rondo, Danilo Gallinari, Chris Dunn, and Bogdan going to Atlanta. Bro, like that's just and they're probably they're gonna be like the surprising team for me. But adding those additions into the already the potential that the Hawks already had prior into going into the offseason with Trey Young and then Collins as well. Like adding all those pieces is just you're looking at possibly the scariest team in the Eastern Conference right now, other than the top tier teams. But they're that team that says that everyone's gonna like mark their calendar and say, "Damn, we got to watch out for them." So that's my pick.
Yeah, I'd say they're a dark horse, and you forget they have Cam Reddish too. We still haven't seen his full potential, and they've got um they've got some young pieces. They're really young, so it's going to be exciting to watch them. I hope they actually do something this year.
I do agree with Abdi. I think they're the sleeper of the East. Don't forget they have Clint Capella as well, who did tweet this morning about how he's watching and he knows how the Hawks are being undervalued with no nationally broadcasted games this season, which is pretty pathetic. I mean, half the teams in the NBA I could care less about, and I'd rather see the Hawks versus watching the Orlando Magic or I don't know who else was on there, the Cavs or whatever. I don't really care about these fraud NBA teams. Um, but like you guys said, they have a lot of great pieces. They have what's his name, Kevin Herter, I believe, knocked down 3-point shooter, great guy, great player. Cam Reddish, I mean, they got a lot of young pieces. They have a great young coaching staff too, and I'm just kind of curious to see if the leadership that Rondo brings in, and even though Danilo doesn't have any championship pedigree, I wonder if his leadership, his veteran presence, will help the team out. But I agree. I think they will definitely make the playoffs for sure, somewhere between that 6 to 8 seed. But I agree with Abdi. I mean, they definitely won the offseason as well.
Right. And you talking about all these young guys, Herter, and then bro, like Clint Capella, just like phew. I totally forgot about that. Like that's crazy. The fact that I'm forgetting about Clint Capella in Atlanta. So that's even yikes. But how about if we're sticking on to these teams that we're looking forward to watching in the Western Conference? You got the Hawks in the Eastern Conference. Who are you guys looking forward to see in the Western Conference?
The bubble champs, the uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I guess you could say the bubble champs. I have a better, for lack of a better term, the Phoenix Suns. Man, they got CP3 and Jay Crowder. So they're going to be pretty tough. And then Portland as well. Portland Trailblazers ended up getting a pretty good pickup with Robert Covington. So they got a 3-and-D guy. I like him in the starting lineup a lot better than Carmelo. And the fact that you can have Carmelo coming off the bench and re-signing with them, that's that's a pretty formidable team. But I think I already know what the result's going to be. I think you guys can guess what I'm going to say. And us taking the chip once again, like I predicted last season. But the West, I mean, it always continues to become difficult. Um, Moving forward, I guess you could say later down the line, looking into the future, OKC is going to be serious when they have all those picks coming in. I can't even list off the whole deal that they had just because it was so lengthy, but that's just going to be further down the line. And the Mavericks, I know we don't talk about them enough. They have their center Dwight Powell coming back, so depending entirely on the health of Porzingis, they're going to be. I think they could be easily a 3 seed going in.
So I agree with Miles on the fact that Portland is going to do a pretty damn good job, but I think you undervalue them. They added Robert Covington. They got rid of Trevor Ariza, who didn't even play in the bubble, right? He was not there. And you add somebody who's gonna be there. and in my opinion, performed really, really well in the bubble. I mean, he struggled with the 3-point shot against the Lakers, but overall, he was a great player, in my opinion, the third best player in Houston. And you get him, you bring in Ennis Canner back, who did an amazing job for Portland, in the postseason 2 years ago, right? You get rid of Hassan Whiteside, who he's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but I thought he did. I don't think he fit that well in Portland's offense, right? I mean, a big who can't really shoot the ball. You bring back Rodney Hood, right? Who I think tore his Achilles or ACL. I'm not sure which
Tore his
one.
ACL.
ACL, right?
Yeah.
And he did a great job also 2 years ago, right? And then you bring in the young kid from Sacramento, Harry Giles, Jason Tatum's boy, right? Young dude, 22. He's been hit with injuries since high school, but if he just gets a chance, right, in Portland with a great coaching staff, and I think he'll have a great time there. Also, I want to add the New Orleans Pelicans, right? You bring in Eric Bledsoe, you bring in Steven Adams, right? You get more draft picks in that Drew Holiday trade. You have Zion Williamson, who has slimmed down, right? And hopefully he could play maybe close to a full season this year. Bring back BI on that 5-year deal. I mean, they have so many young pieces where it's like, who do you keep for the future, right? And who do you flip? Because you got Eric Bledsoe down there, and now you got Lonzo Ball in his final year of his contract. And I mean, they got so many young pieces where they could ball out now, ball out later, flip pieces, maneuver what they want to maneuver. And I see both of those teams right now. Dark horse, I know Abdi will bring this up. The Warriors, right? Everybody counts them out with Klay Thompson. Bro, people slept on Kelly Oubre last year, bro. He balled out. There's a reason why I grabbed him in fantasy last season, right, Abdi? I grabbed him. I had to get him. Balling out, right? Steph, if he's healthy, I mean, he's Steph. He's a unanimous MVP for a reason, right? The only player to ever get that. Draymond, you got Wiggins, who could. He doesn't even have to be Wiggins anymore. He could just be an Harrison Barnes 2.0, right? Wiseman, come on, man. You got Eric Pascal, great rookie last year. I mean, they got a great coaching staff. If they can stay healthy, they will ball out. And the fact that ESPN said that 8% chance of them making the playoffs next season is baloney. If you think that they will not make the playoffs fully healthy, you're out of your mind.
So going back to, first of all, again, Johannes hit me with the Wiggins. Like, bro, what? Wiggins, Oubre, and then when Klay comes back, you want to go, Miles, real quick? Go ahead.
Yeah, if I could interject, just think about how scary they're going to be when Klay Thompson does get healthy. Not for y'all, more for my conference, but man, they made some pretty good pickups. They're actually one of my winning teams in the offseason. And the fact that ESPN, y'all ought to be put in prison for that, whoever made that prediction. That's criminal. How y'all going to say 8% when they literally went to the finals like, what was it, a 5-year run when they had going to the finals, and y'all put them at an 8% chance? Handcuffed.
Yeah, not only that, but ESPN, since we're staying on topic, also said the Trailblazers wasn't going to make the playoffs. So that's crazy to me, bro. But yeah, man, I agree with a lot of the teams that you guys have chosen. Johannes, I'm a bit disappointed that you don't see what's going on in Phoenix and them possibly being a top 5 team, But yeah, you could do all that. You could do all that, bro. But look, they got Chris Paul, DeAndre, my guy Jay Crowder went there. 2 weeks ago, we thought it was a big deal, but like it was a big contract. When you look at it, it's 10 mil every year. So he took less going to Phoenix than he did if he was going to go sign with Dallas, because Dallas had offered him more. But yeah, man, with that being said, man, looking at both conferences, who are the teams that disappointed you guys the most so far? Go ahead, Johannes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I had a lot of teams I want to put it in this equation. I was gonna say the Clippers, but they did add Serge Ibaka, which I think is a great piece and an upgrade from Montrez. But I have to say The Sacramento Kings, man. I don't know who's running that organization. I don't know why that person's running the organization. I don't know if they know basketball. I don't know what, but you lose Bogdanovich, right? You had the chance to get him back from Atlanta, right? Because he was restricted, and you let him go, knowing that you're not going to add anybody better than him, right? You lose Kent Bazemore, Harry Giles, and who do you replace him with? Hassan Whiteside and Frank Kaminsky, bro. Okay? There was a reason why Hassan Whiteside was traded from Sacramento when he was drafted by them originally. They didn't believe in him, and now they're bringing him back at 31, 32 years old. Can't even shoot the ball that well. I mean, he's really well known for his Snapchat stories, and yeah, he's just. I mean, they did a great job by giving the max deal to De'Aaron Fox, but I don't know what they're doing with their core. They're paying him, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, right, and they're gonna eventually have to pay Marvin Bagley, who's been injured in and out. I mean, he has great potential, but he's been injured so much, and their money's tied up with four guys. Harrison Barnes is definitely not worth more than seven figures, in my opinion. But they got to figure out what they're doing in that organization, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Okay. And before I get into my losing category teams, I think we forgot to mention the Westbrook and John Wall deal that is
Yeah, we're
basically
gonna
like
end, we're gonna end the episode with that.
okay. Well, then I'll hold that for the end. All right. So if we're gonna talk about the irrelevant teams, because I didn't have no irrelevant teams on my list. I just had contenders. We can talk about the Knicks per usual, being trash, not doing anything, being absolutely silent, didn't make not one move. You know what's cold about it? They still make money off of doing absolutely nothing. That's the crazy thing about it. That's just criminal, just like ESPN. But my biggest loser has got to be the Clippers. Let me tell you why. They did lose Trez, and they were able to pick up Ibaka, but you got to look at his deal. He's got that player option. So if they suck, he can walk, and that could potentially lead to Kawhi and PG leaving too. And then the Clippers organization would just be in complete shambles, which I'm actually expecting to happen. Um, the Nuggets, they are going to hurt, not severely, but they're going to hurt not having Jeremy Grant. They should have paid him. I think they could have kept him on and put him on a good little deal. But, I'm glad for the man. I'm happy he got paid with the Detroit Pistons, but they could have kept him and kept their depth and kept their roster chemistry together. They're going to miss him coming off the bench for sure. And the Rockets, with that ridiculous Christian Wood deal. Christian Woods, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't heard that name since before the train or before the sign happened. Like they're severely lacking with picking him up, picking up a we don't know what Boogie's gonna be because of the injury history, and we'll talk about the rest of the trades that they made later. And lastly, the Charlotte Hornets. Michael, you're one of the greatest players of all time, and yeah, you still decided to sign Gordon Hayward to a 5-year, $125 million contract when he was coming off of the bench. 4-year deal. It's a 4-year, $125 million deal. What in his right mind caused him to do that? I have no idea, especially after having such a good draft class, a decent pickup with LaMelo, which I'm really excited to see play. Um, I have no explanation for that one, and I think it was a bad move, in my opinion.
Picking up Woods is probably one of the best pickups, like most underrated pickups that people have just like not really thought about and put like, because you look at what Houston lost. We'll talk about that later, but I think that's a solid pickup, and he deserved Johannes. Johannes could have been family members, but yeah, listen, he deserved his payday. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you though. The Kings definitely did disappoint me this year, during the offseason. Um, Hassan Whiteside is fragile, bro. I mean, how how do you let someone go? Yeah. How do you let someone go and you don't see you drafted the guy for a reason, right? They drafted Hassan for a reason because the Kings did draft Hassan Whiteside. So you let this guy go and then you bring him back for even more money. And now you pop, and then you lose, as Johannes said, you lose Bogdan, and then you're going to lose your best, probably top 5 shooter in the NBA and Buddy Hield. You know what I'm saying? Because he wants out. And they also trying to pay. Wait, did they give him a contract extension?
Yeah, they gave him contract extension last year.
Okay, yeah, and they're still paying him at the same time. So it's like, what's really going on over there? That what had transpired over the off season so far? Actually, the last 2 years in Sacramento have just been brutal to watch. Um, but yeah, man, let's switch over. And I mean, I know you guys are ready for the season. You guys are ready to see what these guys say when the media and the press ask them questions, because everyone's listening now, especially in the NBA being such a big platform. Kyrie made a statement yesterday, and he stated a few things along the lines of not speaking to any media or any press. Um, he said, quote unquote, he said, "My goal this season is to let my work on and off the court speak for itself. Life hit differently this year, and it requires me to move differently. So this is the beginning of that change." And then he went on to say, "Instead of speaking to the media today, I'm issuing the statement to ensure that my message is properly conveyed." With Kyrie's statements and the comments he made yesterday, what do you guys think? Are you guys on his side? Are you guys like, Miles? You want to go ahead and give us your take?
Yeah, it's nothing out of the ordinary for Kyrie to say some outlandish things, but this comment in particular, I find it pretty selfish of him. I mean, we all lived through a pandemic. We've all experienced heartbreaks and tragedies at some point and hardship. It's not like we all haven't lived through it. And I think it's pretty disenfranchising to the fans. It's a disservice, to be honest, if you're claiming that you're not going to talk to the media because it hit differently. Um, the media access is a way for the fans to, in at some capacity, getting more in depth with the player. With the advent of social media, we can get in touch with them, but this way, it's a way to, it's something that was implemented so people can get closer to the game, and it's tradition at this point. And for him to say that, I mean, this is almost as bad as the Earth being flat back in 2017. But that's just my opinion. I think he could have, if he wanted to voice this statement, I think he could have did it a little bit more. He could have explained himself a little bit more and give more reason to it instead of this vague statement he put out. But it's Kyrie. He does stuff like this. I'm not really surprised.
Yeah, no, I agree. One thing I want to talk about is from a personal standpoint. I understand, obviously 2020 and the pandemic, and he was really high with the BLM movement and not wanting to continue the season. So I understand from the standpoint that he doesn't feel or he wants to move differently. I do understand that just from that personal standpoint. But from what Miles is saying, and I think Abdi's gonna agree. I think we're all gonna agree on this. You're a leader, right, of a championship contending team, correct? You have a job, right? Your job is to be a leader to your team. They look up to you, regardless if you're younger than them or whatever, right? You're the one with the championship, right? You're the one that they brought in, paid the big bucks, brought KD with you, right? You need to act maturely. Uh, we all have jobs to do, and just because we don't want to do a certain part of our job doesn't mean we can't. We're going to stop doing it. Our job is to do X, Y, Z, so we got to do X, Y, and Z, right? We can't just take one of the duties out of the equation, right? So that's one. Second, he's immature, right? I mean, go back to when he didn't travel to Boston, right? He was injured, and instead of flying out or driving whatever on the bus with his team to Boston, he decided not to show up when the Nets played with the Celtics the first time, or his first homecoming back. And everybody, in Boston was giving him crap, right? Putting up signs saying this and that about him, and he took it to the heart. He posted on IG about 5 or 6 different posts talking about how it was immature of the Boston fans, and how it's not his job to show up, or whatever he was saying, right? He needs to understand that in this business, you have to take the slander, and you have to do what you're supposed to do. Do you think LeBron enjoys talking to the media, or the 15 guys in Atlanta, or the Cavs, or whatever? Everybody has to talk to the media. That's their job, and it's kind of immature and foolish for him to say that.
Yeah, and real quick, I think he's kind of got that prima donna type of mentality. If I'm being blunt about it, he's done some things, that are kind of just big headed to me. Him not going down to Boston like you just spoke on, Johannes. I think that's just him not being able to face the fans because he know what he did. That's just me. But he's human, and I can't explain human behavior. But Abdi, you go ahead.
I mean, as you guys are stating, like you're in the NBA for a reason. A lot of people back in the days when there was no social media, when there was no apps and nothing, would literally pay 50 cents just to open up the newspaper. They would literally open up a newspaper just to see what Shaq said, what Kobe said, and they'll pay 50 cents for that. The fact that you're saying no to doing your due diligence as an athlete is wrong in many ways. But I also understand where he's coming from. You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I hate talking to people. I'm like I could be very introverted and I could be very extroverted. It depends on the type of person, the type of energy. But as we've seen throughout Kyrie's career, he's been extremely introverted. You know what I'm saying? And mental health, I feel like has a lot to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're literally the face of the NBA, pretty much. You know, well, not pretty much, but like you're a big face in the NBA, and people want to hear what you have to say. So I feel like that also gets misconstrued. And so I know we kind of skipped over it when we were talking about free agencies, but recently there was a trade that had happened, a big blockbuster trade between Russell Westbrook and John Wall and the Houston Rockets and the Washington Wizards. Give me a take on that, folks.
Well, I think both teams won that trade, in my opinion. So I think John Wall fits better in Houston's offense, to be perfectly honest, because you're going to get a lot of those a lot of those spot up shots that John Wall could actually potentially hit more. His shooting percentage was a marginally better than Russell Westbrook's spot up shooting percentage. So I think he'll fit well, and Russell Westbrook being the explosive athlete that he is, I think is literally just like honestly, it's like trading a chess piece for the same one. Like you basically got a queen for a queen on the chessboard. So he'll be able to mesh well with their other star in why am I forgetting this boy's name? In Washington. Somebody give me his name. Why am I forgetting his name?
Bradley Beal.
Bradley Bill, duh, sorry. So they're going to mesh real well. They're going to be a formidable backcourt, in my opinion, and they're going to both teams be fun to watch. We'll see who won the trade based on each other's performance, but I think John Wall fits better slightly in that offense down in Houston. I think you're going to see a lot of those transition, high intensity passes from Russell Westbrook in Washington, like you were able to get back in OKC. So it's going to be a fun season for sure for both of those teams.
I mean, I slightly agree, but slightly disagree. I think Washington definitely won the trade with the fact that they're bringing in somebody who's been consistent, been playing consistently. Who's actually been playing every NBA season, and in my opinion, a better leader than John Wall. From the fact that he John Wall's done a lot of things off the court where it's been really questionable, as a leader of a franchise like that, whether it's throwing up gang signs or, being seen at the clubs doing, XYZ. I mean, obviously he's done a lot for the community, but I'm just saying from a leadership standpoint, I don't know if that was what Washington wanted down the line. Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, both fathers, they both love their kids a lot, and I feel like they just bond off that, and they would have that, in my opinion, that same relationship is Russ and PG, right? Bradley Beal and PG both don't need the ball. They're not ball dominant. They can Russ can find them on the wing. Hit the three, whatever they got to do. And they got a lot of good pieces. They got Abdi's favorite player. I can't pronounce his name. Rui Hashimura. So
Rui Hachimura.
yeah, and he had a
Oh,
great
I
season.
thought you were gonna. I thought you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So him, the kid from Israel is pretty good. I don't know his name, but I've seen some highlights. They got Thomas Bryant, they got Torrey Brown. I mean, they got a lot of great young pieces. And if John Wall could stay healthy, which everybody is saying that he's been looking great, that'd be a huge upgrade for Houston. He's a better 3-point shooter than Russell Westbrook. I mean, he's not amazing, but he's a better 3-point shooter than Russ. You know, could shoot the ball, play a little bit off ball, not really. And if he has a lot to prove. I mean, with 2 major injuries and his passing of his mom, I feel like he's going to come out and prove that he still has it. And hopefully, if Boogie and everybody stays healthy, Houston does got something. So I think both teams might have a W on their hands. But for now, I'm saying Washington has won the trade.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When I heard you say favorite player, I thought you were gonna talk about my guy Boogie. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be beautiful to watch this year for those haters. Hey, listen, Johannes, if you have something to say, you got 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
I just want to say, look, he's a great player, and I did say a long time ago that I wanted him in Boston. But Abdi is his biggest fan, right? And he's always wanted Danny Ainge to get Boogie. But real quick, he's come off 3 major injuries: the quad injury, ACL, and Achilles. Right? I still think he'll play well. I just don't think he's gonna be the Boogie that we all assume, and I think he's gonna just move way too slow for 2 quick guards like Harden and John Wall pushing the ball. So, I mean, we'll see, but I'm not huge on him.
Well, hey, he's coming from a championship franchise that didn't want him. So if that's a red flag, I don't know what else. Because how we were going to re-sign him, and then I thought about it. Yeah, those injuries are tough, man. Still love you, Boogie.
The only reason you guys let him go was because he was injured. Point blank. Period. Okay. Right. Okay. Whoa. Y'all did that in sync and everything. Don't listen, bro. Listen. I'm gonna be for real with you guys. Okay. Boogie Cousins, a healthy Boogie Cousins could. You know what? I'm gonna just say right now, he's gonna be the best center in the league if he was healthy. Point blank. Period. You know what I'm saying? But listen, man, that's it for today. Y'all know who it is. It's Abdi, King Tesfai,
I think that's why. Yeah, my bad.
Miles.
And y'all know me, Lil Gap.
Yes,
You know
sir.
me.
Listen, homie, look. Johannes got his little half-court Black Lives Matter sweater on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can get that right here. It's going to be in the middle of the screen. You feel me? Do that. Follow my boys on their social. It's going to be right there on the bottom of the screen. Yeah, peace.